I'm a victim of childhood sexual abuse from a family member. This is not stuff that you let out to people because guess what? You're afraid of judgment.
As somebody who's experienced sexual assault, I don't think Kevin, who is 6'5", has experienced some of those things. Some people become cops because they see the police or the uniform as the power that they've always wanted.
I really wish somebody was there to be my officer, Kevin, to tell me everything's gonna be okay.
I'm sad for that little girl inside of me.
Afeni and I will be culturally opposites.
Similarities are gonna be slim to none.
Kevin, a retired police officer, took great pride in serving and protecting. Yet you were shot and at times deeply disrespected. Afeni, you watched the George Floyd video and you couldn't stay silent. You've marched, you've protested, you've been arrested, and believe that the police are effectively a gang that protects private property and the wealthy. Afeni, what have the police done to the American public?
Policing started as slave enforcement, slave catching, and now the police have been really used to abuse and I would say brutalize people of color, immigrants. There's a mass distrust of the system of policing.
First, I gotta tell you, policing was not started as an arm of slavery. There is no way historically that police officers were put in place to chase down slaves. Policing goes back too far, okay? And there's been slaves from the beginning of time.
In the context of America, yeah, the police were started as slave catchers.
But they weren't.
But they were.
They weren't, absolutely not.
So
Just didn't
W.E.B.
happen.
Du Bois is wrong, Kelly Carter Jackson is wrong, Ta-Nehisi Coates is wrong.
Yeah, they're wrong.
Let's bring it to today. What is happening in our society today that you find deeply troubling about how the police are interacting with the public?
So we could start with Oscar Grant. We're out here in Oakland, aren't we? We could go with George Floyd. He wasn't shot by the police, but he was certainly killed by them.
No, actually, the autopsy proves different. He was not killed by the cop. He was killed by a fentanyl overdose. That's the autopsy. That's medical exam.
So I want to pause and explain what we're doing. This is the Enemies Project, and the goal is actually for people to connect. So why am I allowing this argument to go on? This is the real conversation that people are having. And I want to demonstrate what happens with this kind of conversation. So please, continue. Who's right about this?
Take the human emotion out of it. The medical examiner said George Floyd died of a fentanyl overdose. He was in the back of the car saying he couldn't breathe before the police touched him.
For 9 minutes. He had a knee on his neck for 9 minutes. Eric Garner, Tatiana Jefferson, Sandra Bland, Sonia Massey.
What if I told you more white people were shot by police than black people?
I would believe you because there are more white people in this country.
What if it was disproportionately the other way? And I could show you statistics to prove that. See, I got to figure out what kind of person you are. Living in a world without enforcement of the law is complete chaos. Can you imagine having a person with some sort of mental break, waiting for a social worker to come? They're not equipped to handle the stuff that we handle. It's illogical, it's irrational, and it doesn't work. So abolish the police system. Did you ever read Lord of the Flies?
According to Alston Sterling, he was chased down and shot in his back. Clearly, y'all also are not equipped to deal with these situations without killing people, being judge, jury, and executioner all at the same time. I'm not advocating for chaos. Crime is a socioeconomic issue. So if we want people to be safe in a society, then we need to invest in safety.
So you're taking out personal responsibility and you're putting socioeconomics in there. Crime is a personal responsibility. So if somebody comes by your house, starts stealing your stuff, what are you going to do? You're either going to take the law into your own hands or you're going to call the police. Anytime
you are bringing somebody with a gun into a situation that is possibly already heated, if there's a mental health situation happening, and a lot of these crimes that are happening are crimes of survival.
I got to say, there is no crime of survival.
If you don't live in a situation where your neighborhood has been deeply affected by chemical warfare from the United States government, putting crack and all this other stuff into our neighborhoods, let's be honest.
Chemical warfare. So your claim is that
crack is chemical warfare.
That crack is being placed in there by the government.
Crack was chemical warfare.
And where is your proof of that?
Are you joking? It's like a pretty common fact. It's a joke at this point that Ronald Reagan sold crack from the White House.
I need to know hard evidence. There's no reality in that.
Google is free.
Okay.
Like,
So Google this. How many interactions that the police have with citizens is police initiated?
white people call the police more often than black people do. 30% call the police.
No. The real number is only 8% of police interactions are initiated by the police. I'm going on the FBI statistics.
Oh, well, I'm going off of all the many black scholars that have actually taken the time to study this.
FBI, Uniform Crime Report.
The same government that has continuously killed, raped, and enslaved my people. I'm supposed to trust their statistics? It's not what is pushed to us by the media. All
Because the
different types
media is so kind to police officers.
They literally just take police reports and damn near read them word for word.
So they don't ever show the time when a police officer delivered a baby or saved a person's life.
Did you need a gun to deliver the baby?
Absolutely not.
Did you need the gun to do CPR?
But guess what?
Hang on.
I don't fight fair. I don't fight fair. This is not an ego-driven job.
Kevin.
Yes, sir.
What is it like for you when people basically claim that police are corrupt? Police, they're doing something negative in the United States.
It's the great quote from Jack Nicholson in A Few Good Men, okay? You know, you want me to provide that blanket of safety and then question the means of how I provide that. I would rather you just say thank you.
And what have you seen personally?
I used to be a peace negotiator in 2020. Oh my goodness. Always liaising between the National Guard and the police and the protesters, making sure, curfew's coming, please don't fuck us up, let's talk about it. That lasted for about 3 weeks. Then after that, it was move back, tear gas. It was instant escalation because the police are here to crush dissent. You might have almost given your life for that. That's your choice. But the system of policing itself,
it wasn't my choice.
The system of policing itself is toxic, and it is rooted, especially in America, in racism. You have no idea what the black experience of policing has been because you're not black.
Have you ever been a police officer?
No, thank God.
Because I'm going to be honest with you. Every police officer I've worked with from all different colors, countries, whatever it is, when they put on that uniform, I don't care who they are. I don't care what they do. If they have my back, you're good. We're brothers, we're sisters, whatever it is.
So that brings up to a point that you've made to me, which is that that's the police motivation, to cover each other's back, that they're essentially a gang with guns. You want to tell us about that perspective?
The way they operate in black neighborhoods specifically, they lie on police reports. You can't lie and say you don't know not one person that's ever lied on a police report.
How are you going to lie on a police report when everything's on video?
I'm about to tell you. So Terrence Sutton indicted and charged and sentenced because not only did they illegally chase Karan Hilton down the street, they also went back then and started fabricating the story, and they also caught all of that on video.
Question for you. What type of people do you believe are protesting against the police? What do you think of those people?
Consummate victims, okay? If people want to step up and change the system, you can't change the system by whining and crying and holding up signs because how you're viewed by both the police and the general public is not favorable. You're not changing anything. Unless you're willing to put on that uniform and change the system from within, then you don't really have anything to say.
Doing political organizing and doing more than just protesting is real work.
Let me ask you both about the response to George Floyd in society.
I think it was childish. I do. I think it was childish. 100%. You watch Charlie Kirk get shot, what happened? There were prayers. There were vigils.
Actually, one of his fans just killed 2 young girls. What are we talking about?
One.
And apparently, he was shot by one of y'all, so I don't even know why that
Where did you get that?
sense. I'm talking about white right-wingers. He was shot by a white right-winger.
You're playing the victim card here. You can't play the victim card.
Why would I play the victim?
You can't play the victim card. You're separating the two races.
I didn't do that.
Why would you want to separate the two races?
Because that's a racist social contract that was set up by y'all ancestors. I didn't answer that.
No, racial social construct was set up by your ancestors.
Black did not become a thing until the 1600s. Guess who did that? The Europeans that y'all descend from. That ain't got nothing to do with me.
Slaves are slaves. There's been exponentially more white slaves than black slaves.
Chattel slavery is different. Being born.
What's shadow slavery?
Chattel slavery, being used as breeding slaves, is different. Eating people, boiling down in the oil, feeding them to alligators, all that shit is
property
different.
That are productive.
Well, that's the whole concept of being a slave.
So it's interesting how this conversation has spiraled from police into slavery. It's hard to even follow. It's hard to even follow what we're talking about because this is what happens when we argue.
So maybe we should swap educational material. And maybe that would give me a little bit of an idea of where you're coming from, and then you do the same for me.
Well, that's a good transition, because we're not going to be swapping educational material here, but we are going to be swapping perspectives. I encourage people to argue it out, as you guys have, because it demonstrates what doesn't work. Afeni queued up all sorts of statistics. Are you convinced right now that she's correct in any way?
No.
And Kevin had lots of statistics, a lot of passion, a lot of personal experience. Are you convinced?
No.
I asked you to do that. So I'm not blaming you. But I ask, what in society does that accomplish? And that is what 98% of our media is about. In fact, debating has become hugely popular. No one on the other side is ever convinced. So what we're doing is we're speaking to our own side. We're gearing them up for a fucking fight. I don't think that way is working in our society. And I think you probably both agree with that. So we're gonna start something else, and we're gonna get to know each other as people.
And to be honest with you, that's what being a police officer was to me. To be that person that I needed the most.
And that's what being an activist is to me.
To be that person that you needed the most.
This, I believe, is the most important question in getting to know a person. What, Kevin, is beautiful in your world?
My children.
Let's hear about them.
I have 2 young boys that I have raised to never take anything for granted. I've also showed them the world is going to kick you in the ass constantly. You better be able to pick yourself up. And I know that I had some part in guiding them and directing them in a spot where I can set them up for success. It's something I didn't have.
It sounds like, in part, what's beautiful about the experience is knowing that you gave something to these people you love.
I had a hand. I had a hand in their guidance. I was there for them. It's a wonderful feeling to watch somebody thrive knowing that you gave them some of the tools in order to thrive. I'm a Christian. I am very, very tied into my faith. I watch both of my boys come to Jesus Christ on their own.
Why is that powerful for you? Because for people who aren't religious or who don't hold that specific belief, they might not find that on the surface powerful, but I bet what you are experiencing is relatable to them.
Even if you're not Christian, you should want to live like a Christian. Think of the 10 Commandments. Thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not kill. All these good things about being a good human being. Black, white, male, female, left, right, doesn't matter. It makes you a more compassionate, empathetic, functioning member of society.
Part of what's beautiful is seeing them as loving, empathetic, giving people. Can you give me an example of either one of them doing something that you are really proud of?
My youngest son has a TikTok page where every single night before he goes to bed, he will take one verse in the Bible and he will interpret that through a 12-year-old's eyes. There was one that he did about forgiveness, how we need to forgive the person. If you were to come up and slap me in the face, according to his TikTok, I need to forgive you. And he lays it out through biblical verse, why forgiveness is so important.
I'm gonna ask you, in part for the people who aren't religious or who don't believe in Christ or who find religion or the conservative interpretation of religion to be painful, what is it that he's becoming that you love? Because that they will identify with.
He's becoming such a good human being, a better human being than I can teach him.
What does it feel like to be their dad?
You swell with pride. You swell with pride, and I have to prepare them for my exit. One day I'm not gonna be here, okay? And I have to make sure that they are willing to step in and take the yoke when somebody else can't carry it anymore. And I'm watching these 2 men do that very thing.
Thank you. I have the same question for you. What is beautiful in your world?
I don't know, it's definitely my friends. I was not always like the easiest person to be around. Like, I was very angry, I was very bitter. And I feel like my friends loved me in like a way that's so unconditional that it forced me to want to be a better person, not only just for myself, but for them. I wanted to be the person that they saw me as, the person that God sees me as. And I had like a 12-year battle with like deep alcoholism. And I'm going to be 2 years sober on the Monday after this is recorded. It just made me want to fight for that version of myself and to like love myself as unconditionally as they love me.
Wow, so it was inspiring.
Hell yeah.
Do you have any questions for the other person about what is beautiful in their world?
What was your decision to get sober?
So I was going to Ghana with an organization that I've been doing like some healing work. And to be honest, like I just knew what kind of person I was when I was drinking, and I knew this trip was gonna be really hard. So I challenged myself. I said, for 2 weeks, I'm just gonna be in the country. I'm gonna be in Ghana. I'm not gonna drink. That experience of knowing I can go through hard emotions and not have to numb myself and honestly be a better person on the other side of it because I was actually like present for myself. I think that's what really like kept me not drinking, keeps me not drinking, honestly.
Can you identify with that?
Yeah. Yeah, I've been sober 12 years. I was just numbing everything. I was numbing all that pain, and I was running away from that prairie fire. The same way that you were trying to numb your emotions, trying to run away from that prairie fire. Did it go away? No, ignoring it doesn't make anything go away. You have to jump into that fire, and you're gonna come out on the other side, and it hurt, right? It hurt to look in that mirror. It does, it hurts. There's beautiful things on the other side of pain and suffering. That's what that means.
Do you know what he means by that?
I do, but I do think that there were some ways that I suffered that were just really avoidable. Like, I sit with that a lot also.
But they weren't avoidable. You were put in the place you needed to be in order to become the person you are.
So he's seeing a positive side to it, and what I'm taking from you is it still feels really painful to think about.
You have to look at them less as a negative experience, because now if you still look at them as a negative experience, they're holding space in your head rent-free. I know this from personal experience. Listen, I'm not this sage guru. I held a lot of hate in my heart for a lot of things for a very long time.
I do have a question for you. What sports do your kids play? I played a lot. I was an athlete.
Both my boys are football players. My oldest is, he's a sophomore in high school, and he worked his way up, and he's starting on the varsity team. And to watch that for your children, to watch the fruits of their labor come forth, wow. There's not a time they step on a field where I don't have to fight back the tears.
I have a question for you, Afeni. Knowing what I do about your past, what is it like for you to hear a parent speak that way about their child?
I think it's really beautiful. I think there was a time where like I held resentment for like good parents or whatever. And my mama, you a good parent, my bad girl. Parents of children like talk about how much they love them. I think that's really powerful. Yeah, it makes me really grateful for them and for your relationship.
So one way to get to know a person is by what's beautiful in the world. And it's a good way, but there's another side to it. What has caused us the most intense pain?
Well, damn.
What has been the hardest experience of your life?
I would definitely say it was just like all of high school, the whole thing. I was sexually assaulted my first year of high school, 9th grade. I went through like the whole trial and shit like that, and like it was just the worst, honestly.
Did the perpetrator get justice?
Yeah, he pled guilty. Yeah, it was that experience like compounded with just like the amount of bullying that was happening. So he went to middle school with most of the people that we were going to high school with. I went to middle school with somebody like in a different part of the county. So when the story came out, like everybody was automatically on his side, and like I ended up having to change schools. And this was like when Facebook first started like getting popping for real. So it was just inescapable.
So you had been sexually assaulted, and then on top of that, rejected by virtually everyone in your social community.
Yeah, except for like my 2 or 3 like really good friends. I spent a lot of high school alone. I used to go to school drunk, all different types of shit.
Can you also tell us how that was a compounding of your earlier experiences in your family?
Yeah, I grew up in a pretty abusive household. My stepdad was in the military. So he was kind of abusive before that and like very alcoholic before that. But then he went to Iraq and he just came back and he was like very different. So I was like a cheerleader for 10 years. I stopped cheering, I quit band, I just stopped doing everything.
Can you take us into the experience of that girl? Like just really sit in it for a moment.
I feel like largely, she's still around, she's not gone. even now, like I have like a larger platform, and like one of my biggest fears, like with all these people watching me and all that shit going on, is that like it'll all turn again. And like I don't really know how I would handle that.
Can you go back in just for a moment so that Kevin and I can absorb it? What it was like to be that girl in high school who had had a really difficult family experience, was sexually assaulted, and then basically, for the most part, alone.
Yeah, like my mom didn't believe me at first. My mom was basically like, if you're lying, you need to tell them now. And I was like, girl, what the fuck? Really? I felt really out of control all the time. Just all like the slut shaming and shit like that. Like I feel like I lived into like the manifestation of what people were calling me. Like I started to, I don't know, like just be like very hypersexual, because it felt like something I could control, like an intimacy that I could control. It felt like something that like, this is outside of my friends, like my best friend Joelle, really, like this is the closest thing I'm gonna get to warmth at this point. The whole situation, it felt like above me. Like I was watching my life happen, like outside of me type shit.
And the hypersexuality was you taking control back of your life.
Trying to, failing, but trying to.
So same question for you. Hardest experience of your life?
Coming to terms with being a victim of childhood sexual assault, and I still pause when I say it because there's a lot of implicit shame in me. But I buried this deep from 13, 14, and it wasn't until 43, you start to remember the room that it happened and what it looked like, and the fan that was in the window and the smell of the area.
Take me into a day with that kid.
I was horrible to certain kids at school. I wasn't all right at home, and I was trying to take my power back. So I found somebody who I believed to be less than me, and I went after him with venom.
So there was anger inside of this kid.
There was a lot of anger. I fought constantly. I would look for fights.
And this is someone in your family.
Yes.
So an absolute breach of trust. There is no trust in the world.
The person that you're supposed to trust by default betrays that trust. So what are you gonna do?
Is there any stability? Is there anything you can count on being a kid who's gone through that?
I felt that there absolutely wasn't. It's like you want to tear your skin off. It's like you want to hide yourself. I would passively try to kill myself. And what I mean by passively try to kill myself, I wouldn't put a gun in my mouth or put a rope around my neck. But if there was something dangerous, well, I'd do it. If there's train tracks that ran through my town, we would dodge trains. Because in my mind, I would think, hey, listen, nobody's really gonna care.
What has been your experience like talking to other men about this? And like, how have you been received?
So you would be shocked at how many men this has happened to. Everywhere I go, somebody will come up. I can see them. I can almost point them out because they'll stand off in the back and I'll sort of stand off in the corner and they'll approach me on the side and they'll tell me of just absolute horrific story. They come for some healing, some peace. They know I'm not gonna judge them. So the thing I'm trying to become the thing I needed, and to be honest with you, that's what being a police officer was to me. To be that person that I needed the most.
And that's what being an activist is to me.
To be that person that you needed the most.
What are you most proud of that you've done in your life?
Without question, I'm most proud to take the things that I've went through and to repurpose them and throw them back out at the world for you to use. I'm the type of person that always wants you to be better than me. I think everybody has it inside them to be amazing. I really do.
What do you get out of seeing somebody else be their best self?
I get to see them happy. It's the best feeling in the world.
When did it switch for you? Because you, as a kid, you were not wanting to lift people up.
After my police shooting, after going through some really dark times, the guy who shot at me, I used to hate him. I mean, I was filled with anger. My whole life was backsliding, alcoholism, problems with my family. There was one day where I go, man, what did that guy have to go through in order to shoot at police twice? Think about the pain that guy was going in. And I started to sympathize. I started to feel sorry for him a little bit. And it took away all his power over me. Things just started changing in the way that I viewed people around me.
I hope you don't mind me saying it brought you to a pretty terrible place in your life.
Correct. Multiple suicide attempts. I think somewhere 7 or 8 of them. I've had guns in my mouth. I've lived in the woods for 3 days on a bottle of water. I had to retire because of that. Truth of the matter is maybe I was never meant to be a cop. Maybe that was just a conduit. All this mess in my life would just push me into the direction where I needed to go in order to do something really important and life-changing. Speaking about sexual assault with police departments, speaking about mental health with police departments, I see him as an angel facilitating whatever my destiny is.
Mm. How about you? What are you most proud of that you've done in the world?
I think I'm just like most proud of the person that I've become. To be honest, like I never really saw myself being alive to the age of 28. I thought that I was either going to like die or go to jail. Now, like actually being able to be a leader, to hold space for people, to also be respected by people is something that I'm really proud of. Like I am somebody who is worthy of respect.
I'm curious whether what you think that girl, 16, 15, 17, who is fighting all the time, what she would think of you.
She would just be obsessed with like the nails and the hair and the like she would just be like, oh my gosh, girl, like who styled you? And it's like, me, girl, we did this ourselves. You know, like I have younger sisters now. We couldn't like form a real relationship. And I think a part of that was because I was not somebody that was easy to connect with. I'm just proud that I can be somebody that is like good to be in a relationship with and not always harmful. Like people don't always have to be giving to me or coddling me or taking care of me or being like, well, that's just how she is. Mm-hmm. But it's like, I am accountable for myself.
That feels pretty good, huh?
It does.
That sounds like control. Like,
yeah. Yeah. I see what you did there. Yeah. I do feel more in control of my life and also of like the ways that people view me. Mm-hmm. Because I am an active participant in like my healing now instead of just my suffering all the time. I have to be so bad. I'm a fabulous lady. Okay, got to put the lipstick back on, man. All right.
My son, my 15-year-old, first of all, my 15-year-old, 6'5". He's 15.
You said he was 250, right?
Yeah, he's a monster. But guess what? I got dad power over him. You don't want to have dad power? Here's dad power. When your son or daughter eventually puffs up, and even if they're joking, you kiss them square on the lips. To a 15-year-old boy or a 16-year-old boy, he's like, dude, I've been kissing you on the lips since you were a baby.
I love that.
And they just get destroyed. Like, oh, dad, oh, dad.
What you've done differently in the second segment, which is when you were learning about each other, is you listen to each other as opposed to speaking. I mean, you're completely dedicated to hearing the other person, which most people receive as kind of a gift, a form of love. And we're going to take that into politics. What does the other side not understand that you wish they did? Simple as that. Who's willing to listen first?
I'll listen first.
So I want to be clear about what we're doing here. You're not responding. You're not dissuading. You're not agreeing. You're not disagreeing. You're listening with curiosity.
What I would like you and like your audience and people that are aligned with you to understand from our perspective is that this country was built on the antithesis of blackness and indigeneity. Like they genocided all of the people that were originally on this land, and then they kidnapped people from another shore to bring them here to build upon it.
Can I ask why you believe they're kidnapped?
I want to make sure that any question in this segment has zero political point, that it is only about deep curiosity.
There's a perspective where she's going to say that they were, like, it's not my understanding that they were kidnapped.
Yeah, so this is different than listening.
Okay.
And I just want to point it out, okay? That this right now is to understand her perspective. That's the only exercise we're engaged in right now. We're not truth seeking.
Okay.
So you had said some people started out, black people in particular, but people of color started out very, very disadvantaged. Why do you want Kevin to understand that historical perspective? Because we're not living then. How does that relate to what's important to you now?
Our lack of reckoning with how this country was conceived is a part of the reason why we can't actually have real conversations now. We have to be able to agree on some sort of truth.
The way I'm interpreting it is you'd like him to understand your perspective on what happened historically in the United States, because maybe then he might understand what's happening to you and the people you love now.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it in Germany with the Nuremberg trials. Like, you have to reckon with the crimes of your society. If you just brush them under the rug, then you are damned to repeat them.
Okay, but that comes back again to being concerned about the experience of people of color or disadvantaged people now. That's why.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to ask you to reflect it back. Why did she want you to understand the historical context?
I do understand the point that you're making. It's how to move forward that I think we're opposed on.
So to the extent possible, I know this is going to feel really artificial. I want you to keep out any of your own thoughts, the parts that we're opposed on, all of your own thoughts, because what that does is it undoes the satisfaction of being heard. And I want to give her the full satisfaction of being heard.
Okay.
I don't think suffering is inevitable. And the current conditions of Black people, of people of color, of the Latinx community, there are some intrinsic factors. You know, they get the personal responsibility, pull them up out of bootstraps things. You have that as well. And also, like, if you don't have any feet to put socks on, to put the boots on, to pull up the straps, I think that's the part where it's like.
So if you can reflect back what you're hearing.
I would love for this world to have no suffering. I can't have the Black experience because I'm not Black. So what's my best resource of education? It's from people of color. I don't even like people of color. I prefer to call you Black. There's vanilla, there's chocolate, there's rum raisin. It's still all ice cream and it's still all good.
So if you can reflect back just what you're hearing, not your thoughts on it.
I don't know how to do. I don't know.
It seems strange what I'm asking. So let me show you. Let me show you, okay? Because this is the way to listen without offering anything of yourself. I hear you say that a lot of stuff from your perspective happened in society in the past, and that people are born in today's world with incredible disadvantage. And no matter how hard they work, the vast majority of them are going to suffer. And that causes you a tremendous amount of pain. Is that right?
I believe what you're saying is that people of color, Black, brown, Latin, whatever, because of the historical inequalities, are starting the race at a disadvantage. Would that be right? Okay.
And then translate that into why it matters to her.
So if you can identify those inequalities in those groups of people, you might be able to change their futures. Is that correct?
Okay. So
That's the best I could do.
that was great. It was great. And it's not easy because who hears people without responding?
Nobody.
Nobody. And let me tell you something, what you're going to experience, it's good stuff
Sure.
to be heard. So I want you to offer, what do people on her side not understand that you wish they did?
Every single police officer, there's a person behind the badge. There's a heart behind the badge. There's a father, there's a mother. We go home at night, we eat dinner, we argue with our spouses, we try to help our kids with homework. We are not 24/7 police. If you see a police officer go have an interaction with you, you don't know the fact that maybe on the call prior, he just had to take care of a dead child. You don't know that him and his wife are about to get the divorce, or maybe their older child just got arrested. That's the humanity behind that badge.
Yeah, I hear you saying that police are suffering their own struggles and like their own mental health problems, and sometimes it's hard to put that away. Like, our lives are happening 24/7.
I think if people understood that the police job steals your soul, it does, it steals your soul.
Can you tell us about that?
So what happens inside a police officer's mind is they become very stigmatized if they're having some sort of mental difficulty. An officer will then get his weapon taken away. They call it the rubber gun squad, and they will be looked at differently.
So it's humiliating.
Incredibly.
It's humiliating to be a police officer who has any problems.
What you have to do is you have to shut everything down and bottle it up and hide it away and put it in a deep, dark space that doesn't exist anymore. But here's the problem with doing that. You can't keep that stuff hidden forever. And sooner or later, it is going to explode, and it's going to explode at the worst possible time.
Did you experience that?
There was a murder at one of our convenience stores in July 16, 2004. And when I told my administration that I was not feeling okay with what I just saw, They forced me into what's called a fitness for duty evaluation, knowing that my job, my livelihood, relies on me passing this test so I can continue to do my job. When in reality, I knew I was fine to do my job. I just wanted to go talk to somebody, but that was seen as a weakness.
And that leads to incredible levels of depression.
And your suicidal ideations and the closing of your peripheral vision, to the point where your daily function is you start drinking because it numbs the pain. You self-medicate, all those bad habits.
I'm hearing that this crushing of humanity is also leading to substance abuse or like possible other mental health struggles. And I'm also hearing that at the center of it, police officers, they just want love and acceptance for doing their best.
How does that feel to hear from somebody who protests against police?
Very touching. Very validating. Makes me believe that there is a shot. You know, because you look at the world the way it's working right now and you get a little despondent. When you say things like that, it gives me hope, and that's the driving force to keep moving forward.
That came from pure listening. That is the transforming power, and from my perspective, the transforming political power of listening without judgment. What more does the other side not understand?
So much of the American experience is an experience of dehumanization. And so how do we move towards a society where people can be in their full humanity and their dignity at work, at home, amongst people they disagree with?
So what you're speaking about to me is a little vague. That's a concept, which is a powerful concept. And I'm guessing in some ways he even agrees with it. But I'd like you to take him into an example.
Absolutely. Like, think about everything that's happening with ICE right now. Like, ICE agents, they're getting these $50,000 bonuses to sign up in a time where people were financially struggling. In order for them to get access to that, you have to put your humanity away in order to carry out that job. I would like you to see that there is like a correlation between what you're talking about and the dehumanization of like being a police officer and carrying out that job every day, and the dehumanization of being an oppressed person who is on the other end of that. Because regardless of what, nobody in the situation is being treated like they're fully human.
It may be really hard for you to reflect this back, because you might disagree with every premise in it. But I'm asking you to take on her view, the way she's seeing the world.
So I understand exactly what you're saying, because the people who you care about, the people who you're fighting for, and the people that I'm fighting for both have the same issue. And that's the dehumanization of both parties by the other party.
And can you also take it from that systemic point into the individual?
With ICE, I understand how from your perspective you see they are being incentivized in order to go out there and grab these illegal immigrants.
Okay, if she connects the pieces in that way, why would it cause her pain?
It causes you pain because you hate to see anybody dehumanized. What
is it like to just be heard in that way?
First of all, I appreciate you, because I can see you like, I don't know if I want to say this out loud. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you saying it.
I mean, that does take a lot of effort, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, and I also like...
And I'd like to acknowledge him for that.
Yeah, I feel like you're understanding like what your capacity is. You feel me?
We're going to do this another round or two. What does the other person not understand? And I want to make clear that you're going to be switching roles. You're going to be the other person. So you better offer the other person enough information about what's deeply important to you that they're not understanding to be you.
I think one of the main things that you're not understanding about my side is it's not so much a dehumanization of people as it is a resource problem. There's not enough officers, there's not enough money. So instead of defund the police, it should be fund the police. If the police officer is overtired, overworked, undertrained, underappreciated, I'm not reaching out to hold your hand. I'm not going to give you a kind word because my mental capacity for a kind word might not be there.
Yeah, I hear you saying that if the police had more resources, they would be kinder and probably more engaging in the community in a way that's like more positive.
One of my favorite things to do as a police officer was to get out of my car and shoot hoops with a bunch of kids. That shows those kids that I'm a human being.
Are you being heard in the way you want to?
I believe I am. I believe I am, because her concerns for her community are my concerns for my community.
I think something that I would hope that you understand is that the police, Number one, they have too many responsibilities. You shouldn't be getting cats out of trees and catching murderers. It doesn't make any sense. It's not about defund the police for the sake of defunding the police. It's about funding programs, funding recreation, funding mental health care, funding harm reduction centers for people that are experiencing substance abuse.
I hear you have a well-laid plan in place to actually fix the problem, that by building stronger communities, then the resources that are often given to police may not be necessary.
Yeah, being preventative instead of reactive.
But what is it just like to be understood where you didn't have to yell that?
I'm glad somebody kind of see it, you know? And it also feels nice to be able to like articulate it in a way that's actually going to we're not arguing about it, you know?
Your community-based foundation building, which is how I'll frame that. You know, you're 100% correct. Someone like me, changing my mind is very, very difficult. Changing the mind of the young through community-based programs, through community centers, and giving them other options. That's the way we change the system. So community centers, sports teams, I think athletics are ultra important because that sets the foundation.
I really hope that from that place, like more people like you and I can start to have a conversation about what it means to do that strategic investment instead of just feigning criminality on all young Black children or all Black people, you know?
I want to do one more round and then we're going to switch roles. You're going to be done with this experience and you're going to be like, that was weird. Like, I actually was pretty much guaranteed to be heard by the other side. So this is it. Avail yourself of it.
What you have to understand is there are certain, what I would like you to understand.
That was a really great rephrasing, by the way.
What I would like you to understand is there are certain bells throughout time that we cannot unring, because constantly going back and rehashing the past, it does rip open those old wounds, but we have a shot at making a better future, one that includes you and me. But all we can do now is make a better future. We can't make a better past.
And why do you want to make a better future?
Because there's certain things in this society that are broken.
Do you care about the other side? I don't mean this rhetorically. Like, you're a cop. Mm-hmm. You're a white cop.
Last I checked.
Do you care about suffering Black people, Latinos?
Probably deeper than you'll ever realize. New Jersey is incredibly economically depressed. It's the inner city. And you pull these cars over because the car is all jacked up. And there's 6 kids in the back seat. Most of them aren't in car seats. And their noses are running. And you look at these kids and you're like, man, you don't even have a chance. You don't even have a shot. And it breaks your heart because a child is pure innocence. Okay, a child is a fresh start for all of us. I was certainly not the one that was going to write them a ticket and cause more economic despair. And I'm not because I'm better than anybody, it's because I want every kid to have a chance. I wish more people understood that about the vast majority of police officers.
I want to check in with you on one more thing that I've heard you mention slightly, but I imagine it's bigger than has been expressed. To be seen as an oppressor. Like, maybe that's even what you're about. You're just a guy who wants other people to suffer. You're a guy who wants to dominate other people. I want to know what that's like to receive that message.
It hurts on a level so deep. When you show up and you're trying to do something right, you're trying to do something good. I think I would rather be punched in the face because that would at least be temporary.
I mean, it's demoralizing, to put it lightly, to be seen as like inherently evil person.
I got medals up and down my chest. I can't even remember the calls that I got them for, but I can remember the times I got spit on. And that just perpetuates that nagging thought in the back of your head. So what am I doing this for? I'm not making any headway.
What does a person like him or a person on the other side not understand? This is your last opportunity.
It's not the individual that's the problem, but the system of policing in and of itself is more harmful to Black people. A lot of the anger and the feelings that we're having towards like individualized police officers, like we're on a police line, I've called the police a couple of pigs, and police officers, whether they mean to be or not, are representations of that oppression.
So she's making a point which circles back to the beginning when I was like, let's talk about you personally. And she's saying, I don't want to ignore the historical piece, because if we just talk about the individuals, we're not going to cure the problem.
So from what you just said there, what I believe you're trying to get across is the fish stinks from the head down, meaning the system. Would that be fair?
And I hear her saying also, there could be really good individuals, but it doesn't mean that we're going to fix things.
I used to date a Capitol Police officer. She was nice. She was great. So it's not to like completely discount like any individualized experiences that people have, but it really is it's a problem that is larger than any one of you. And I dated a cop. I did it. Never do it again, but I did it though.
This woman has actually seen me.
So we're about to do what I call identity confusion, which means that you're going to play each other. You had said earlier, I can't be a black woman. And you said, I can't be a cop. I can't be a middle-aged white guy. And I guess I want to acknowledge that to about 10% truth. You actually can be, from my perspective, another person if you inhabit their beliefs and their experience. Okay, so if you would, please switch seats. So in this segment, you guys are going to try to embody each other. Who's willing to speak first?
Oh, really? I'd like to see you try me first.
Just to give 30-second, 1 minute biographical. Who are you? And what do you believe?
I'm a person of deep belief in my community. I've seen things that cannot be unseen. I will be out there. I will be on the front lines. We don't need all these cops in our community. What we need is more community organizers, more people that are willing to step up and take that yoke of responsibility so that our young black community, our young Latin community can rise up and become confident, they can become safe, and they can be taught to police themselves.
Why does any of that matter to you?
Because for 400 years, the black community has been underserved.
Okay, but you didn't live 400 years ago.
But it's generational. So it's been ingrained into our society.
What is it?
This idea that we are less than, that we are not as good, that we are somehow broken, or we are somehow not included in that quote unquote American dream. Those laws are put in place to keep the minority communities at bay and keep them exactly where they are and unable to crawl out of these bad situations.
Thank you. Wow, that was powerful.
A little.
Wait, hang on a second. So that was powerful to hear. I just want to let that sink in for a moment. For both of you, because you can see the effect you had on her. So you're Afeni, and I want to ask you, what does Kevin and his side not understand?
They don't understand that we could be so much more than how you see us. We could be in equal partnership if you just allow us. We could be walking side by side, hand in hand, and we truly can change this whole system. There's a lot of young children out there that believed that they are stuck in their system, almost like the old caste or feudal systems in medieval times. Can you imagine if one day we united as a nation? We'd be unstoppable, but it must start today. We got to stop worrying about, we can't do anything about the past.
So as
No,
Afeni,
I gotta read, that wasn't Afeni, that was me. That was me. That was me. That was 100% me.
What Afeni said was that being able to intervene with our youth as early as possible is important in order for us to actually get to a safer society.
is he getting it?
Spot on.
He's a smart guy, huh?
Good looking too.
Slick back.
Okay, so Kevin, biographical. Tell me about yourself and what's important to you. And why?
I joined the police force because I genuinely believed that being able to be a positive change was more important in taking that power into my own hands, not just talking about it, but actually doing it. And I do a lot of really cool shit with the indigenous community, you know what I'm saying?
What does Afeni and her side not really understand that you wish they did?
That our jobs are hard, and that sometimes we have to make impossible choices in a split second. In that moment, if it's between myself and somebody else, I'm gonna choose me. Because I have a family to go back to, I have young sons that are relying on me to come back home, and it doesn't mean that it doesn't impact me negatively mentally. I actually carry that around with me every day.
Why do you want Afeni to hear this?
Not every single police officer that joins the force is doing it in order to be evil or to be a part of an evil history, but genuinely we're there to try to make a positive impact on our community. We are full humans that have lives outside of just what our occupations are. We still have to go home and be with our families. We still have to go to the grocery store and run errands and go to the gym. You know, like we are regular everyday people.
Can you reflect back what you're hearing?
I think at its basic core, what Kevin's trying to say, that cops are people. Just like I'm a person.
Is she hearing you in the way you'd like to be? And I really want to know whether she's hearing you at the depth with which it matters to you.
I believe so. I would probably just add to the depth of the fact that it was a very real possibility for my family to go without me. And that was a sacrifice that I believe I was willing to make because I genuinely believed in the work that I was doing.
Wow, that sounds like a massive sacrifice.
Yeah.
And it speaks to how much you care about the community, that you'd be willing to risk that, given what we know about how much you love your kids.
Yeah, my football playing children, they 6'5" and 6'7" and shit.
Can you reflect back what you're hearing?
So what I'm hearing you say is that no matter how much you love your family, that you're willing to put your life on the line for somebody you don't even know, knowing that today could be the end. You definitely believe in what you did as a profession. You believe in this way you lived your life.
Yeah.
Is she getting it?
Yeah, I would say so.
What's that like, to be understood by somebody who protests the police?
Like it feels good to actually be able to connect on a really human level. I would assume that you're also risking your life in a way every single time you step out on the front line and you speak against the government that is doing what it's doing.
Can you speak to that?
There was a likelihood that every time we go out there, somebody's going to do something foolish, somebody's going to do something stupid on either side, which is going to escalate the situation, which is going to cause harm to people, and that is the last thing I ever want. However, activism sometimes can garner results.
And it sounds like you, much like Kevin, do this despite the danger. And the danger in many different ways. Physical, reputational, you've been put in jail. So you're a well-spoken person, got opportunities, you have a following. You could go be a media reporter, you could be on some show. Why don't you do that?
Because I can see all the beautiful things that this system can be.
Can you reflect back what you're hearing? Whatever piece of it really strikes you.
I hear you when you say that this isn't a job for you and that your belief in people and in the betterment of society is what continues to drive you to do this.
I think he finally gets it.
Is there anything more you'd like to be heard about?
The suicide rate within the police force is high, and especially among retired officers. We don't talk about it enough, but people are dealing with really deep mental traumas from their line of duty and from actually being in service to their community. And we are not doing enough to address that. We're not doing enough to support them. And they also have families and all those other things, and their families deserve a full version of their family member.
Can you reflect back what you're hearing?
Even though Kevin's saying the same thing I am, that we're looking for dignity, we're looking for humanity, we're looking to be seen as people. Those basic human rights that were promised us from the start of this country.
Is he hearing you?
I would say so.
What's that like?
I'm gonna leave this room, I'm gonna leave this space, and I might come across somebody else like Afeni. And in that moment, instead of just coming and judging immediately, I will probably think twice about my experience with Afeni and with why she does what she does, and hopefully be able to see more humanity.
We're all made by God. That means you're made by God. That means I'm made by God. And God willing, we'll have another conversation in a different life.
I think you've done a pretty complete job. Let's switch back. Back in your own bodies, in your own self.
These pants I was wearing were uncomfortable.
Ain't they?
But they were fashionable.
Yes, they were.
You had those cool sneakers.
Yeah.
I keep my J's right.
So, 2 questions for you. First, what was it like to play the other person? And secondly, what was it like to see the other person play you? Those are 2 different experiences. Who's willing to go first?
You said something in there that kind of hit me a little bit. You said, I'm willing, and I don't think I said that. I'm willing to go do a job where I might not come home to the people that I love, and I'm still willing to do it. I truly believe that, but I don't think I ever said it in here.
You didn't.
But somehow you extrapolated all that stuff. So the fact that you picked that up from whatever I said was humbling.
What does that mean?
That means that this woman has actually seen me,
Yeah.
has actually heard what I had to say, and somehow formulated that which is absolutely true and brought it out.
What was it like to have yourself be seen so completely by another human being, and then a human being who traditionally is on the other side?
It felt amazing, and it gives me a lot of hope that, you know, we're stuck in this area in society where everybody's separated, everybody's picking a side here, right and left. But if we just sit down and talk to each other and live as one another for a moment, our views might stay the same. But one of the things we won't be able to do is we won't be able to dislike each other as much.
So I want to point out that for most people, the most profound part of that experience is seeing the other person play them. And the reason I want to point it out is because it illustrates how important it is to be heard without judgment. That is the deepest experience of being heard without judgment. And you experienced it. And that's transforming. That's what gives people hope. I want to ask you what it was like to play Afeni.
I can feel her passion. I hate to bring this back to myself, but it was very similar to my passion. I believe what I believe with all my soul. And I, when I was saying those things, I knew that it was the same feeling coming from you.
You like felt a similarity. When you were her, you were like, holy cow, this is the same thing that's going on inside of me.
The depths of the passion were very, very similar.
And they were born from love. For you, on your side, right?
Correct.
And did you feel that on her side?
I did.
All right, Afeni, back as you. What was it like to play Kevin? What was it like to see him play you?
It was like that similarity that you were talking about, like feeling like that similar, like I am willing to sacrifice my life for this shit. You know what I'm saying? I do think there's like a different level of like commitment to something that you are like, I'm willing to sacrifice everything for this. And for me, it just seemed like a big part of your motivation is your family and like just being driven to create safety for them and that love outpouring to like everybody else. And then as far as like seeing you play me, I cried at first just because, I don't know, like at first I was just genuinely like, how is this white man gonna reflect back what I just said and like actually be genuine? At first it was like, damn, like you do kind of sound like me, number one, and number two, like I do care deeply and you heard that and I felt seen in that. I think this definitely gave me like new hope and new eyes. A big part of what we're up to next is trying to find the points of unity. Like we can't get anywhere without
You want to know
like
you want to know where I would start?
Where?
For me. Stop calling you black. Stop calling me white. Stop calling them Latin. How about we start calling each other Americans?
So here's a fundamental difference in your beliefs, but not in your goals. You believe to some extent that recognizing differences is empowering in that you see what historically happened and how to change things. And you believe that recognizing or calling out those differences divides us. Both of you have the same goal from my perspective, but very different ideas on how you get there. So you could hear that as erasing your history, not seeing correctly the history and suffering of Black people. And what he was saying was, I want to be on the same team as you.
Well, I too want to be on the same team.
I want to make clear, as I do in every episode, that there isn't meant to be a solution out of this. Could you imagine if you guys were supposed to find the solution for police use of force?
Well, Isaiah 6-8 says, I heard the voice of the Lord call out, who shall I send? And I stood up, said, here I am, Lord, send me. All right, so you have embodied that. If not me, then who?
I want to ask you this. What do you think of the other person?
I like you, okay? If it wasn't for this cause, I think you would be suited for any cause because you bring about that fire and that passion. People look at that stuff and people get inspired. I think if she were allowed, I'd be friends with her.
And what do you think about Kevin?
I have deep reverence and respect for your dedication to family and like the ways in which you talk about like just the love that you have in your life. A lot of people take their trauma and they do really negative things with it. And your ability to reframe and to be positive and to still like try to put good out in the world is really important.
People who watch this show are going to attack you, and they're going to attack you. They're going to call you a racist. They're going to call you anti-American. A lot of them are going to have the same argument in the comments that we abandoned in our first 10 minutes. And I want you to say to your people, how do I want you to watch this?
This woman sitting right here was brave enough to sit in front of somebody who had an absolute opposing view. If you can open your ears for one moment, while you might not agree with what she says, you cannot deny the fact that there are nuggets of truth inside of what her cause is. If you'd like to give constructive criticism, go at it. I will not engage with anybody who speaks negatively about this person who I've grown to respect. If you do that, you might as well unfollow me too, and I really don't care if you do.
Hey girls, come gather, come hither. I know, everyone's looking at me like, girl, what you doing? The world we are trying to get to does not exist if we continuously other people that we do not agree with. But Kevin is cool, and don't be in here talking shit about Kevin, because Kevin might be my friend after this, okay? If you have constructive criticism, give it. But if you're gonna be on that wild shit, cut it, because me and Kevin locked in now.
It took incredible courage to come here, and you did it for the people you care about. So I want to say thank you.
Thank you very much for having me.
We are done.
Come here, bestie.
Oh, wow.
We all know the dueling narratives of left-wing riots and police oppression. Kevin and Afeni tell us the story of who we could be if we saw who we actually are. Here I am, Lord. Send me. If not me, then who? I will listen now, Lord. Because our world is breaking.